So it's good to be here. I've been here before. I've come this way again. I do not recommend the Motel 6. Just saying. But I'm happy to be here because I love this congregation. I have to say, this is not in my script, I love the way you sing. You know, you sing so beautifully. Just, you know. I wish you sang 5 hymns per worship, but then we'd be here for a really long time. I'm talking today about some scary stuff for humanists and for the logical part of our brain. I'm talking about visions and dreams and the language that we use to describe them. So we already know languages is a problem, but I want to show that it's really not. Let's do an experiment. First of all, if you know how to say good morning in another language besides English, please stand up as you're willing and able. All right, now I'd like for you to just shout out, say welcome or good morning in another language, and then tell us what language it is. Anybody? Okay, maybe we should do it one at a time. Willkommen. Everybody say willkommen. All right, another one. Bonjour, I heard. Everybody say bonjour. Bonjour. Buenos dias. Everybody say buenos dias. All right. And now you go ahead and shout out anything all at once. Another way to say good morning. Wonderful. We have transcended the language barrier right here, right now. You saw it first. Have a seat. So I spent a lot of years in New York, and I learned that language, so I get to say, how you doing? It seems that you're doing well. Let's talk about visions. Religious histories abound with visions. Almost every major faith got started with a vision. The Buddha had 4 visions before he was 30, and he built a practice on that. There are now more than 500 million Buddhists in the world. Christianity was built on visions. Mary had them, Jesus had them, the Apostle Paul had them, Constantine had them, and laid Christianity all over Christendom. And there are now 2.4 billion Christians. In the 7th century, the Prophet Muhammad sees a vision of Gabriel, receives the teachings of Islam. Now there's 1.8 billion Muslims. Clearly, there's power in these formative visions. And as you use, we could see these as the sources of faith. The first source, if you remember your 6. I've only had a few visions myself, but I have had them, although I don't have nearly as many followers. Let me tell you about the first vision that I recall, and we'll all see what it means. So this is real. This has been in my mind since I was about 7 years old. I'm not sure exactly when. Here's what I see, as vividly over the decades as it was at the time. I'm a small child and I'm outside at night, which you shouldn't do, small children. But I'm looking up at a black night sky, very black, no stars available, but a huge silvery moon and very silvery luminous clouds blowing across the moon by a wind. I can feel the wind on the ground. I know that the weather's about to change. But what I recall in this vision as I'm seeing this is a couple of things. I recall feeling that I am connected somehow to this infinity. I feel that the wind blowing those clouds has a purpose. And then I feel that it is my job to search for that purpose. That has been behind my spiritual searching all of my life. As the image fades, I walk into the night looking for the purpose that drives the wind, and I know I will find it. So was this a vision, a dream, an undigested bit of beef? Why is it so vivid? Why is it so full of meaning for a small child? Today, it feels as if that vision has been the foundation of my life's quest for meaning and purpose. What was going on in my brain that this vision imprinted itself on me? Well, let's look at science, because that's what we do. Modern science continues to look at brains. We're learning how there's imaging that show brain changes when people are meditating. We've known for a long time about the various waves that brains generate. You know this. The four definable sizes or lengths of brain waves: beta waves, alpha, theta, delta. I may be getting this wrong, I'm not a scientist, but here's the general idea. Our brain, when we're awake and we're doing stuff, generates the fastest waves that we have, which are called the beta waves. And that's what keeps us going. That's what built technology. That's what does the work for us. Then, if we're sitting and maybe we're resting, or maybe we're looking out the window, or maybe for some reason we take a break, sometimes our brains slow down a little bit and the waves they generate become alpha waves. In that state, in that daydreaming state, as I told the children, sometimes good ideas come. It's a little more creative than the workaday beta state. At night when we go to bed, we will slip down through the alpha state, the brain waves slow even further, through the theta state, which is a lively, generative state of mind, and all the way down, if conditions are right, to a delta state of sleep. Everybody's familiar with this process. We go through this every night if we don't have insomnia, and then it's a whole different story. So, in the night, we also know that about every hour and a half, our brains will speed up a little bit and go into the theta state, and in that state, we dream dreams. What you might not realize is that during the day, as you're awake and alert, if you are meditating or running or driving or doing something repetitive and monotonous that you don't have to think about, your brain might actually enter the theta state. In that state, we see visions. So I believe there is a scientific way to look at this, but I also believe that's not the whole answer. So let's talk about this. Some people believe that human beings in prehistory moved back and forth and in and out of these four states much more freely than we do. We can see evidence of this, and unfortunately we've labeled it primitive thinking. And so we've looked at all the non-rational or the supra-rational learnings of people in the past, and we've dismissed them as, you know, superstition, or they were crazy, or whatever. Because in modern times, we became rational. We became enlightened, and we began to believe that that beta state was the best and only way to know things. That's not a bad thing, because when we became enlightened, we started making rules about how to prove things by experimenting. No one had done this before. We actually sort of invented facts. Then we got some real science going, and we had great tech, fabulous medicines, worldwide communication, and, you know, Netflix. But there was collateral damage, I believe. When we rejected all the stories and myths and creeds and dogmas that religions had created to explain or exploit their original visions, we lost our connection to the visions themselves. So now we have to ask, is the beta state the only way to honor and use our brains? You know my answer. I'm going to say, no, not necessarily, because there are things the beta state can't do. I don't believe it's a good tool or good use of our brain. It doesn't help us grow spiritually beyond our material moment. It doesn't really help us understand or empathize with others. It doesn't allow us necessarily to relate with that which is greater than ourselves. So I want to ask, can we no longer believe in anyone's dreams or visions? And if we say no, then we're saying our first source is no longer applicable. Truly understanding each other, truly understanding the world, I believe depends upon embracing metaphor, meta-messages, irrational messages, cultural contexts, subconscious inclination, all that stuff that we eat up when it's Carl Jung telling us or Joseph Campbell telling us. But then when we look at somebody in the room who said, you know, I saw a vision, no, we don't want to hear it. I believe we're doing our brains a disservice, because I believe those visions and dreams, if we can find a way to coordinate them, and talk about them, and honor them, it may be that that's the next step in our evolution. Finding some kind of way to embrace all the mysteries that are in our minds. To do that, we're going to need our Babel fish. We're going to need to be able to translate what others are saying about their visions and dreams. You probably all needed your translator as you walked your spiritual path. Let's say you spent some time in a Christian church and you liked the fellowship and you loved the idea of Jesus as a role model, but when they said Lord God, you could not translate that. And when they said Father God, you really wanted to add Mother. So you've used your translator already. Maybe you've started a Buddhist practice and you're meditating and you're going well, and then you start looking deeper into Buddhism and its beliefs, and you come across hungry ghosts, and you say, wait, I don't believe in ghosts. That can't be right. Maybe you've come to realize that all faith traditions have words and images that you're going to have to translate if you're going to get the right meaning for you. It's not easy. Unitarian Universalism makes it both easy and hard, because Unitarian Universalism invites into the sanctuary all these faith traditions, right? It's built on that inclusiveness. So people come in here saying stuff that without your Babel fish might just seem to you to be offensive babble. Remember, the Babel fish works by receiving the psychic input that is all around its wearer. We nurture our Babel fish by being open to new descriptions of those states as part of our human experience, developed through the ages, maybe just to help us survive reality. When we do that, we are honoring the first source, direct experience of that life-transcending mystery and wonder. Unfortunately, we seem, ever since that story of the Tower of Babel, we seem to have taken it for granted that we will never understand each other again. And I wonder, could that change? What did the Hebrews think about that? Well, here's something also in the Hebrew Bible by the prophet Joel, which you're also familiar with, I'm sure. In the last days, God says, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Let me tell you my latest dream. I'll make it short, but you tell me if it's a prophecy. I dreamed this dream about a month ago. None of the facts in it are true, but here's what I dreamed. In my dream, my family, and indeed my whole neighborhood, had been relocated by the government. They had been taken away. Turns out I live in a mobile home in the dream. They had all been removed, and I am standing on the edge of a huge open space that has a sinister feel to it. And I asked somebody, where has the neighborhood been? Where are the people? Where is my family? And this person says, oh, it's down past that line of trucks in those barracks you see. So I walk that way, and sure enough, there are huge barracks-like buildings. They must hold thousands of people. I go in. I'm really getting worried now that I can't find my family, but I have tools with me. I have a phone and I have a tablet. So I decide, well, let me look electronically. I'll call them. No, I can't find my contacts. I'll look on Google. No, I can't find that. The tablet I am using, I don't even know which way to swipe on it. I can't find help. I can't even find the search button to get me to help. The phone is useless as well because I don't understand it. And I hear somebody over to the right of me saying, yes, they've optimized that operating system for the iPhone 12. So in a dream, I am cussing, and I'm really frustrated, and I'm about to cry, and I realize this technology is useless. I throw it to the ground, and I say, I'm going to find a person. A person will be able to help me. Sure enough, right away, I see someone, a nice woman in an orange emergency vest, carrying a clipboard. Thank God, someone with a clipboard, because you know they know what's going on. And I went to this woman, and I somehow said I was looking for my family, and she said, yes, they're right over there. And as I woke, I was beginning to walk towards the family that I thought I had lost. That's the only reason I did not wake up in despair that morning, because that dream represents everything I am terrified of. Losing my family, not being able to use the tools at hand because I don't understand them, I'm too stupid to learn them, and knowing that they're somewhere, but I can't get to them. And then I realized that dream not only reflects my worst fears, it also reflects what families are going through at the border. My worst nightmare is somebody's reality. So I bring this dream here to the community of faith because I know that you will understand what that dream is. In my mind, it is a prophecy. That doesn't mean looking into the future. It just means you must do this now, and here's why. I believe that the community of faith is what helps us understand and use the visions and dreams we have. The community of faith helps us keep humanity's dreams alive. A community of faith like this will cherish the rational, but it would also welcome the intuitive or the imaginative or the mystical aspects of our humanity. I shared with you a dream that tells me what to do, and I am supporting those organizations that you are supporting, and thank you so much for that. And I shared with you a dream, and then I shared with you a vision that the universe is vast, far beyond what I can see. I'm connected to it somehow, and that I must keep seeking the purpose behind the wind. First source, direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder, affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. I hope you can translate these dreams and visions and your dreams and visions into ideas that enrich and support your religious and spiritual growth. Because in case it is the last days that the prophet Joel was preparing us for, I believe we need to be open to the Spirit that is poured upon each of us in our own languages, in our own ways. If we are sons and daughters, we must prophesy. Young or old, we must see visions. And so it is, so it may be. Our closing hymn gives you a chance to sing back what we just talked about. It's number 146. Soon the day will arrive. Please stand as you're willing and able and sing this with the kind of gusto you've been singing all along.